Well, hello, ladies. Super excited to have you join us today. Today, I have one of my favorite people in regards to branding and in regards can your image, yes, how can your image really propel you forward and seriously become magnetic to the clients that you're trying to reach. So I have Emma here with me from the other side of the world going into winter. Emma, I'm going to
Literally.
yes. You were telling me that you guys are getting like wood and everything for the winter.
Yeah, we actually, if you can hear clang, clang in the background, that's the wood being dropped off at the moment so that we can have lots of fires in our beautiful fireplace.
That's so awesome. And I'm like, I need the fan on because here in Georgia it's beginning to get hot. So,
Yeah.
Emma, how about we jump right in? Can you just tell us a
Hmm.
little bit about yourself? Obviously, people are going to read a little bit of your bio and be connected to you. They can click and go and check your website and everything that you have to offer. But can you just tell us a little
Totally.
bit about you and your business?
Sure. So I'm like thinking, which parts of myself do you want to hear about? But basically, as you were mentioning, I create brands, and that's the bulk of what I spend my time doing, working with coaches and servicepreneurs and mentors to help them bring their brand to life. And a bit more about myself is that we moved to a tiny town in the middle of South Africa that hardly any of the South Africans know, because we grew up here. But also we've bought, you can see like this really old door in the background. We bought this really old house. It was built in 1906. It's one of these beautiful, big old houses.
Wow.
And we've turned it into a B&B. So my side gig is looking after the people that come into here. It's always interesting putting the lessons you know about branding into place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then other things that keep me busy are that I'm working with the town's local tourism to help them rebrand and make sure that we put stuff on the map. So there's all of that going on. Yeah.
That's awesome. So are you originally from Africa?
Yeah.
That's
Grew up in South Africa, been here my whole life.
That is so cool. I'm so ready to go and visit South Africa.
Oh, it's such an amazing space.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's awesome. So with you, how long have you been in business?
4 years now.
4 years. And then, so when people are coming to you, what are some of the things they can expect? We're about to dive into some like very actionable tips, ladies. But I just want, when people are coming to you, like what are some of the things you can help them do in regards to the branding and their business?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question because a lot of people just stick to the design aspect around branding, but for me, your brand is so much bigger than that. Yeah. So I love to delve into the heart of your brand. I love the way my husband describes it, and I've adopted his phrasing, but he says it's like I dig into the heart of who you are, and then I try and pull that alive in the brand that you want to create. Awesome. I know, right?
Oh my God.
So that's been like my go-to. Anytime I try and describe what I do, that's the best way to do it, because whilst I'm in the creative side, I don't only come from a creative background. So I've also grown up in the corporate space, been in the business world, worked in management teams, and understood the people side of things. So I've got a real deep level understanding for people and the heart of who you are and the brand you want to create. And then it's all about just making sure that the visuals match the heart and that it all comes together.
Oh my gosh, I have like goosebumps.
I know.
That's incredible.
I know.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And talking about awesome, the one thing that I love doing is helping women find what makes them awesome. I call it their awesome sauce. You've got something that is unique and special about you that no one else can replicate. And too often, and we're going to get into that later, I know you're going to ask me about mistakes people make, but too often we try and copy what other people are doing, and we don't allow our own brand to come alive. And then you just look like somebody else. But if you actually allowed you to come through in your branding, you would stand out. So I think that's going to be one of the key things we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So good. So let me ask you a few questions about you so that we can know you a little bit more. So do you guys have any kids?
Yes. I have a 7-year-old. I have a 7-year-old boy, and I always say he's busy enough for 2.
I know how that
And yeah, and I married my high school sweetheart. We've been together for over 20 years, but married for 15. So been together for an age.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is a lot of your family in this town where you're living?
We do have quite a bit of family around, which makes it quite awesome. Yeah. Because when we were in Cape Town, we didn't have a lot of family around. So we've been enjoying that sense of community, which I think is always so great especially when you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yes. And how far is Cape Town from where you guys are now?
Now 1,300 kilometers.
How long would that be, like, driving?
11 hours.
Whoa. So you were really far from family.
Yeah. Well, from where we came from, yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So,
and the other member, Pachi, there's one more member of my family. We have a feral cat that has now become tame. So she found us and she stalked me with these very hungry eyes until I fed her. And then she decided to move in, and she is our cat. And her name has changed.
Your house.
Yeah, no. So, and then we brought her from Cape Town here. So she's part of our family as well. Oh. And yeah, no, she's very cute. Very cute. Yeah.
What's her name?
Funny you ask. It's changed a few times. She started off as Sponge because she used to sponge off us, and then she became Sweet Pea, Black Cat, Noir, and Chocolat. I think she's Chocolat. I don't know. Sometimes she's just Kitsy Witsy.
Oh, that's so funny.
She responds to Mew Mew.
So she might have an identity crisis because all this.
Absolutely.
So funny.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, what made you want to work like with helping people uncover their brands? Like, tell me a little bit about your own passion around branding.
Good question. That's a good question. And I think my love affair with branding evolved. Because I mentioned I started off in corporate. So I worked my way up the corporate ladder. I was in a management team. I was looking after the HR portfolio for quite a big retail business. And I looked around at what all my colleagues were doing, and I thought, yeah, more Excel spreadsheets, a couple of extra 1,000 employees to look after. And I was just like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. So main part of what I enjoyed doing was change and transformation. And that was maybe 5% of my role. Yeah. So then I decided, let me be clever about this. And there is a really good reason I'm telling this story, because I think a lot of people, when they try and figure out what they want to do, they're going to go through this process. Yeah. Maybe not as severe as I was. And mine was more of a metamorphosis. So I left corporate and I thought, I'm going to be my own boss and I'm going to do the safe route. Okay? So I'm going to offer HR thinking to small businesses who can't afford a full-time me. Clever answer, right? Beautiful business model for somebody else. Because I wasn't passionate about it. And every client I interacted with could sense that lack of passion. And they were just like, no. So that business did not go well. Yeah. And then I started exploring what I loved, and it was the creativity. And I'd been dabbling in various forms of creativity, and I loved photography, I loved videography, I loved designing. So it really was a bit of an eclectic mix of everything. And I struggled to figure out, how do I bring this together? What does this look like? And it took me probably about a year of organic, just keep following what I enjoyed doing and figuring out, narrowing down until I realized that I enjoyed internal branding, and that was the sort of banner that everything fell under. It was helping people position their business to their employees. Yes. But every time it didn't feel right. Mm-hmm. So I kept tweaking, kept pushing the things I loved, and I kept finding that every time I was getting restless, I would rebrand myself. And so Fresh Sage probably went through 5 different rebrands. Until it dawned on me that I actually like the process of rebranding. And so so eventually I moved, and I took the plunge, and I was scared, but I took the plunge and I started doing external brands. And working with coaches and mentors and starting to create their external branding. And then I just realized I'm having so much fun creating their brand. I don't need to recreate my own. And now I've been that for about a year, 2 years now, and love it. Yeah, not the typical me.
Incredible.
I don't know, we're still there.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that, because a lot of the time, like that's something that I have to talk about with my clients, that even becoming the kind of entrepreneur that you want to be is a process, because you're getting to know yourself, you're getting to know what you like, what you don't like, what you really enjoy, what lights you up. You know what I mean? It's like a marriage. It takes time.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's really frustrating when you're in the initial stages of that journey, when you think there's so many things I could be doing.
Yeah.
And there's so many different avenues I could go, and I don't know where, I don't know which client do I serve, which avenue do I pick. And I know that's when it gets really overwhelming. And I mean, we're going to get to that later, but I think because I went through that process, I understand where my clients are at. I understand that frustration in the initial phases, where you think you need a website and you actually don't. You need clients. You think you need a brand and you don't. You need clients.
Yes. Yes.
I know, Pachi. I'm one of those weird branding people who tell you not to brand.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
No. Totally. So when you're starting out, and maybe that's probably what you wanted me to lean into, is that there are different levels, different stages that your business goes through, and different branding needs for the different stages your business is in. So I always say to my clients, when you are at the beginning stage and you've just started business, or maybe you're even up leveling, and you have so many options and you don't know what it is you want to focus on, don't rebrand. Don't create a brand now. It's the wrong time. Because by creating a brand now, you're going to shape and shift your business so much in the next 6 to 12 months that the business that you created and the brand you're going to be in 6 to 12 months down the line is completely different. 9 times out of 10, right, Pachi?
Yes. I'm going to send people to this video from now on whenever we're talking about this. This is awesome. Please continue. Yes, this is awesome.
So 6 months down the line, you've got a completely different business to where you started.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to spend money again rebranding.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Yeah. Invest. Like at that stage, what I advise my clients to invest in is coaching. So whether it's with a session with yourself or even myself on getting clear on who I'm serving, what makes me awesome and unique, what are the kinds of things I can and should and could be doing, and what is the offer that I'm going to put out there? Like, what's the thing that's lighting me up, and what's the offer that I need to share and start with? From there, it can evolve and grow. You're going to tweak it. You're going to twist it. You're going to reform it. You're going to change up again.
Yeah.
And then you're going to eventually find the thing that you want to do, like doing, and want to be known for. But until you're at that stage, don't try and put a brand out there.
Yeah. And this is awesome that you're talking about this. I was talking even with one of my clients this week, like 2 days ago, about this, because she was saying but I'm afraid that my website is not complete enough. I'm afraid that it doesn't all look great. I'm trying to figure out what should be the branding for even my Facebook group that she's starting out. And I'm no, 1 second. The whole purpose of this process is clients. If it doesn't lead to clients, if it doesn't lead for you to get people on the phone, it can wait. And I know one of my coaches, and this was a big aha moment. It was about a year and a half ago. Yeah. One of my coaches says that she hit her first 6 figures without a website. And I asked that client, I said, did you think about it? So you have had discovery calls with me. You have signed up to work with me. We've known each other for less than 2 months. Did you ever look at my website? And she was like, no.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I've got another friend that I started working with, and exactly the same story. She says her biggest success story, or her favorite story, is how she got her business up and running without a website. And you don't need one, but there will come a time when you do, and at that stage you'll be ready to invest in it.
Yeah.
But like I keep telling my clients, if you create this brand and you test out the concept and you hate delivering the service, you're going to be enslaved to that business. And you don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to shift and change things.
Yeah.
And then get to the stage where you brand.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know of people that, I think this didn't happen to me, but I know of people that actually spend a ton of money working with a sales copywriter, or like with a copywriter, and then 6 months into it, after spending thousands of dollars, they have to scratch everything because that's not anymore what they wanted to do.
Exactly.
So this is why I wanted to have you in this episode. I was like, we need to bust some of these myths. So let's talk a little bit. So, I help people get booked. So all about getting the clients and hitting that first 5K, 10K month, and just doing it in a way that can be repeatable, because we have a business model that really fits them. Yeah. So I love what you're talking about. I feel that we are soul sisters in that sense of like going into the heart and then projecting, creating this platform. So you're saying when people are just starting out, can you tell us through the level, like when is it a good moment to start working in the brand?
So I think that there are a couple of levels depending on where you're at, right? Yeah. So you've started off, you've got clarity in terms of who it is you want to serve, and you've started testing it out. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to want to start creating some social posts and getting visible, because now you're feeling a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
At that stage of branding, then you're going to you don't need a full brand yet. Mm-hmm. Still not yet. Mm-hmm. What you can do at that stage is like get clear on your foundational branding elements. So for me, that is your colors, your fonts, and your images. Those three things. Note I have not said a logo. Still don't need a logo. Mm-hmm. So colors, fonts, and images, get clear on that along with your brand direction. And you're able to then create posts. You're able to then get visible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're going to find that you've maybe invested in getting some help in that space. Maybe you were lucky enough to do the brand bake-off. Then you're going to have tweaked, you've been trying, you're going to be testing, you're going to have bought a template here, some images there, invested in a font or two there, and then you've got this mishmash of stuff. And you're going to feel like it worked while it worked. It got me to the level that I was at, but something's not feeling right. Something's still a little bit, I'm not sure. I need to move up a level in my branding.
Yeah.
That's when you rebrand. That's when it's time. Or if you're at that stage where I want to create an online program.
Yeah.
And I want to put that out into the world.
Yeah.
That's when you rebrand. That's when you get clear on this face that you want to put out in a larger scale.
Yeah. I love that.
Was that clear enough in terms of how it all flows? Yeah.
Yes. And I love what you're sharing. So whenever you're first trying to get the first 5 clients or so on, the focus should be on clients, should be on connecting, figuring out the foundation. I was using the term of like whenever you're building a house, like first is the blueprint and the foundation, and then the whistles and more of the like what kind of style do I want, and all of that stuff comes when we have a solid foundation that we're like, heck yeah, we're gonna build this house. And I love the way that you're sharing it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Similar process and just slightly different analogy. But yes, I agree completely. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I know you love the recipe like analogies, right?
Yes.
I love that.
It's so funny because when I created my brand name, I didn't want it to be my personal name at that stage. I mean, in hindsight, I probably easily could have, because my business has shifted so many times. But I did a sort of hybrid morph of my name and a generic name. So my surname is Wise. So I love the idea of sage thinking.
Uh-huh.
But then I was quite creative, so I wanted to be fresh, so hence Fresh Sage. What I didn't realize at the time was how all the food analogies and recipes and talking about branding, like self-sourcing chocolate pudding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize how that would grow and evolve, but I'm loving it. It makes it so much more fun and playful. And me.
It's something that people can really understand, especially us women. So yes. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's been fun.
Go ahead.
No. There was something I was going to say earlier about the whole branding process and when and I'm trying to remember what it was, but I'm sure it'll jump out at us. Oh, I think you were asking me when you're in that initial stage, how to connect with clients if you then don't have the brand. Is that?
Yeah.
So one of the mistakes I made when I started off was I didn't understand Facebook groups. And I made all the mistakes. You go in and you punt and you're like, here's my offer. Why is no one buying my offer? Is it my branding?
Everybody's saying that you're supposed to do and it's not happening.
Is it my branding? Do I need to tweak my website? Spend another day to a week tweaking Is it my copy? Oh, no, wait. You write the same, connect and be of. There we go. Sorry, did I slip? That's how you're going to build your business, is by connecting, serving, engaging, and being of help. So yeah. So you don't even need to put posts into Facebook when you're starting out. You don't have to have the shiny post that everybody else does. If you go in and comment and connect and serve, you'll be further ahead.
Where were you when I was starting out?
Where was I when I was starting out? Jeez, talk about all the lessons, hey?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So let's dive a little bit into this, because I know that you have a very good presence on Facebook and on Facebook groups. And is that one of the ways that you do a great job? Is that one of the ways you get a lot of clients?
Pachi, the struggle for me is that I live on the other side of the world. So I can't go and connect with people in real life at a coffee shop. I can't, interacting with my friends isn't going to give me the business that I need because my clients are in America.
Yeah.
So for me, all of my connection has to be online. And Facebook groups has been one of the biggest drivers in my business.
Yeah.
But I've tried all the social avenues, and here's a trick for you and your clients.
Yeah.
Don't try and be in all the places. You don't need to.
Amen to that.
What you need to do is think about where your clients are hanging out and be there. So for me, my coaches and mentors, they are in Facebook groups. So I am in Facebook groups. Yeah. They're on Instagram. So I am in Instagram. And those are the two predominant places I hang out. I used to be focused on Twitter and Google and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And I used to spend all day putting myself out there in all the places and wondering why I was getting no traction. I then I've been honing down and realizing where they're hanging out.
Yeah.
And I will hang out where my clients are. So take Instagram as an example. Instagram is becoming one of the places where clients are visible and seeing me, but it's not my main driver of income. Facebook groups has probably been the best place for people to interact with me.
Yeah.
So I love being on Instagram, so I will continue.
Yeah.
and I'll probably see a shift over in time because I'm finding the same people on both spaces, and they're following me in both spaces. So that's great. So now my presence is then being reinforced.
Yeah. I'm always talking about mastering at least one platform where your clients are at before you expand. So that's so good. So I want to ask you just a few questions. So one,
Totally.
what is some of the, like, what's the biggest struggle or the biggest mistake, like the greatest mistake you're seeing entrepreneurs make when they are either starting out, trying to get booked, trying to grow, in those stages where they're going for their first 10K, looking to hit that first 6 figures?
I think that the biggest mistake I'm seeing is one, investing in branding at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Right? So we've spoken about that.
Yeah.
And the second big mistake that I see them making is thinking that they need to copy somebody else's brand. So we get so caught up by what all the big players are doing and how they've created a presence. And we think, if I use their colors, if I use that shiny little gold, like mark, if I use that desky or the flat lay, if I use that image, then my clients are going to find me and I'm going to be super successful just like them. No, you won't. So it all roots in authenticity, right? Because you're not them, you're you. Yeah. And there's something about what makes you unique and beautiful that your clients need to see and hear. And if they're not getting that because you're trying to emulate somebody else, well, guess what? You're going to fall into the same bucket as all the other fake vanillas. And I'm sorry, I can't help, food analogies. So for me, like, I always say, I love fake vanilla ice cream. Okay, you go into the commercial aisle of your supermarket, whichever one it is, and you've got the normal fake vanilla ice cream. It's great. It's average. It'll do, right? It passes.
Yeah.
But give me artisanal ice cream that is like, there's one shop in Cape Town that is my ultimate favorite, and I'm always disappointed they don't deliver. They're called the Creamery, and they have the most incredible flavors, like Salt River of Dreams, which is this nutty custardy swirl of toffee in amongst vanilla. It's just amazing. Or sometimes I know, right? And they make you drool. Sometimes they have cookies and cream, but it's not just cookies and cream. It's actual cookies in the cream.
Oh my God.
I know. Or I love the way my cousin described, they have garden mint. And the reason they call it garden mint is because when you taste it, you think you've picked mint out of the garden. So,
wow.
So the reason I'm going through all these flavors is not to make you suddenly run for the ice cream container, but you can be a fake vanilla and you can try and present somebody else's brand, or you can be fresh garden mint and just be a fresh breath that your client has been like searching for, and then they'll snap you up. They'll want to work with you. They want to have you on their list as somebody I want to work with because you're authentically you. Sure. Sorry, that was a big rant, but it's something I feel really passionate about. Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome. Again, I love the way that you paraphrase things and the way that you use analogies because it's so easy to understand and to relate. Yeah. Thank you for that. So,
only a pleasure.
So let me ask you then, what would you say if you had to start from zero? This is a question that I love asking. So if you had to start from zero and you could only focus on 3 things, just 3 things to build the business that you have from zero, what would you do?
And I'm in that stage where I don't know what I want to do. Okay.
So go back to whenever you were first starting out and then talk to your old self.
Yes. Somebody gave me really valuable advice when I was in that position. And the advice was to do one thing that grows your business every day. So, and I say that hesitantly, as you're picking up, because at that stage, I didn't know what the things were that grew my business. So it was creating a brand. It was building a website. I took my maternity leave while I was still in corporate, and I spent my whole 6 months trying to create a website with Dreamweaver from scratch. Oh, I could have done it in a week using a theme and actually gotten clients and gotten out of corporate. So when I say do one thing that grows your business, I mean get clients, test out your offer, try. So I think it's do the things that you're passionate about, that you love doing, that you're good at doing. So the combination of both. So the things we're passionate about that we aren't good at doing. But do the things that are going to build the business. So for me, in my world, if I think about rebranding or going into the space of branding, it's finding somebody I could partner with to create a brand for them and test out my thinking and see if it was the kind of process that I wanted to offer the world.
Yes.
I don't know if that explains it. So, and there's so many things I want to say and I'm careful of saying them, but so I'm not opposed to, when you're starting out building up a portfolio, and I'm not sure how you feel about Pachi.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to doing it for free, but under the equal exchange of your time and their time, and that it's so like if I'm offering something that I would position as, I mean, my branding now is almost $2,000, but back then when I was starting out, it was probably more like, $1,000. Then I'm going to equate that to $1,000 of service that the other person needs to give me. There've been time, and the reason I'm saying that is because there were times where I created a full brand for somebody, and I think I probably got about $250 back in exchange, and that didn't feel good for me. So the reason I gave that very long labored speech is that it needs to feel good for you, because then you're going to put your heart into it. You're going to deliver the service that you would to a normal client. And treat it as though this is a normal client. And then you're going to, and on that, make sure that the person that you are partnering with is your ideal client, because you're going to attract more of the same.
Yes.
So big mistake I made in creating my portfolio is I partnered with people who weren't the kind of people I wanted to build as future clients. But because I created that kind of client, you start attracting more, right? So aim for the ideal rather.
Love it.
That was very deep and loaded. I'm not sure.
Love it. No, love it. And you're saying so many good points that I'm like, how am I going to quote all this different stuff? This is awesome. So I love what you're saying
today.
Well, team, thank you for helping me. They're going to be looking through this and then pulling some of that. Let me just ask you, because I want to like just talk back a little about what you just said. So one of the things is just beginning to test what you have to offer, but testing it with the ideal clients you truly want to work with. I love that. I love that. The other thing that you were mentioning had to do with the not focusing so much on the website and on the systems, but actually focusing on the people. Right? Is that part of what you're saying?
Find clients, test out your process. Test out the offer that you had in your mind. If it actually is, you'll find as you're testing out that actually, no, I didn't want to do that part of my offer, or actually I should include this. I did three course launches before I got this first brand bake-off right. I launched 3 courses, Pachi, and none of them took off because they weren't right. I hadn't pegged it. I hadn't refined it enough. I tested it out with ideal clients. I found what they needed. And then I actually ended up parking it and creating something new that was designed around where my ideal clients are at. And I tested the first round of the brand bake-off with the kind of people I wanted to have in the program. And in that case, I was at the point where I've built up my business, so I'm not going to give it for free, but they get a really reduced rate, and it increases each time we go. And so for them, the bonus for me was having them on the program, because now I have their testimonials on my website.
Exactly. Yes. Love that. Yes, that's exactly, and that's such a good way of exchanging the value, part of what you were talking about earlier, that need for like building more testimonials and just a lot of social proof. So as we're closing, Emma, let me ask you.
Yes, I was looking at the time and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I've been talking so long.
We're having too much fun. We will. But where can people find you? Like, tell us if people are just starting out, or if they're beginning to get traction and they're ready to invest in their brand, like how can you work with them?
So I hang out quite a bit. I also have a group. It's called the Branding Kitchen. And that's where we play with a whole lot of branding concepts, but also it's not a group about fonts and colors. It's more about the deeper level branding. So we think about things like your awesome sourcing, working with clients and all those good things. So that's probably the main space I hang out. And obviously people are welcome to get to know me there. But if you're wanting to get to that stage where you work with me, well, I've got once-off sessions, but then I've also got the Brand Bake Off, which is a beautiful program where I've built in the one-on-one time with me as well. So there's like a clarity session up front, and then you get your we do mood board to get your brand story right. You get your fonts, colors, and imagery. Those foundational things I was talking about earlier. I cover all of that in the program, which is awesome. So that's a great way to work with me if you're in that sort of starting out phase and you're wanting to just have some colors and images so that you can create some form of posts, is pretty much. And because it's a bake-off, there's a competition with a prize for the person who completes all of their activities, not competes with each other, because that wouldn't work.
I love it. So, and what if someone is already like making the 5K and they're moving 5 or 10K and they're like beginning to move and catch a lot of more traction, so they need a full brand?
Totally. So if you're in that space, then it's time to up level. And then I work with my clients one-on-one in my VIP branding. And I have a picnic basket filled with great branding goodies. So in there, we work through, again, the brand, but on a much deeper level. Brand story, we get your mood board, you get your colors, your fonts, patterns and textures, logo, because now you're ready for it. And all of that stuff is great. It's nice to have those elements, but I find my clients were like, well, what do we do with that? So I don't leave them without a social media template. So you then have like your Instagram template where where all of those elements, I've brought it together for you, and you can see how to just go and bring your brand to life. All you have to do is change the wording on it or the occasional image. So that's the picnic basket. It's filled with the goodies you need for your brand. And then depending on the person and what their needs are, they may want like if they've got a Facebook group, or if they've got a program that they want branded as well, or a website they want my input on, then I've got additional, I call them treats, but they're quite meaty treats. They're quite substantial treats. Probably more like a bag of fudge instead of a little thing of fudge to get them set up in all the things they need. Cool. So then they add it on as they need it.
Cool. So what's your website? Where can they go find you, or how can they connect with you if they need more other than the Facebook group?
Totally. It's www.freshsage, so freshsage.co.za.
Awesome. And we're going to put that link with the interview. So ladies, I am so excited that you got to hear from Emma. Emma, thank you so much for sharing so freely.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see people responses and to see your comments. So ladies, this is so awesome. And just keep that in mind as you're going through the different levels of your business, as you're looking at the different areas. Just allow yourself to evolve, part of what Emma was talking about, and just allow yourself to get to the place where you want to get with all the branding and all of that, but just from an authentic place and just in a way that will really capture and like captivate your clients or your ideal clients. So thanks again for watching. And Emma, thank you so much again for being with us today.
Thank you.